Hello, all. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And today, in this series of 20 What's New in 2024 Release Wave 1, let's talk about enhancement in service management. So, if you have noticed, Microsoft, at least from past to release, is making pretty good enhancement, and that seems to focus on service management. So, today we'll see all of them together, not separately. So, what we'll be doing in today's session is we'll be covering about all these different points which are related to service management enhancement, usability improvement, and in this one we'll only talk about uh, service invoice posting policies, how you manage document attachment. I guess there is already video about it. We'll briefly talk about it, and there will be a link to the other video. How you block an item variants for service transaction, how you correct errors in service invoices, and prevent editing number series on service documents and cards. Now, after watching the release videos and after kind of analyzing this on Business Central 2024 release wave 1, it seems Microsoft is aligning service module to how it is available in the sales side as well as in the purchase side. So the user, when he or she moves from a sales area to a service area, he doesn't see a lack of functionality in the service as it was available in the sales or purchase area. So let's get into it. Okay, let me open my Business Central environment. Here it is. And as we are on we'll be talking about the service one. Let's switch our role to be the service manager role. So let's choose service manager. And if you are doing it with me today, while we are doing it, make sure that service is a part of the premium subscription. It is not part of the essential subscription. And in your demo environment where you're testing it, if you need to enable this, make sure to go to the company info, and on the last tab of user experience, you have premium selected. Otherwise, whatever we'll see in this video, you might not be able to replicate that as it is. So let's get into it. So there is a very common feature available in the sales and purchase module, which is around number series and what is visible and what is in what cases it is not visible. Bringing that feature into service, what seems a need. So like if at this moment, if I try to create a new service code, okay, let's see, service codes. And if the number series is not set up, like it happens in the sales and purchase side, you will see this nice pop-up window where you can choose the code number series from your number series table. Now, I'm just choosing the sales one, but just a plug-in here. If you haven't seen Dimitri's AI company setup extension, which helps you to automatically create number series for all the areas in Business Central, do watch it. If you need, let me know. I'll put the link into the pinned comment or somewhere on the top here. So here you can choose a quote number series, and then once you close it, it'll understand that you have defined that and it'll open your service codes. Notice here, and you can compare it with the previous versions, you'll not see the number field here, and that's based on because there is only one number series that is assigned to service code and there's no relationship attached to it. If there's a relationship attached to it, you will be able to choose numbers, service code number here. So there are two conditions. If there is a relationship of multiple number series for a document, then, or if you have manual number enabled on your number series, then you see the number field on your documents. Otherwise, you will notice it as soon as I enter description to be available here. So now here is your sales code number. Now let's choose customer who can do this. As soon as I choose customer, other details will be filled in as usual. And now we'll be able to move ahead from this. Okay. So let's try to add new service items into the line. Now service items are different from items, but I think there are certain actions here, like they are available in the sales and purchase area, but let's choose a service item. Now while choosing service item, you're only seeing one item, which is here, but how you will kind of why you, because let's go into the actual table. Let me go to the service items. Okay, when you open service item, you actually see three items, but when I'm trying to access it from here, I'm only seeing one item. Now bringing that functionality into the service item is also done in this release. So when you are on service item and when you're creating new service item, you are able to define what they are blocked for. Now there can be different kind of blockages based on that, as in the item card, you'll be able to choose blank, which is it's unblocked, or it's only blocked for service contract, or is it blocked for all. So all other items that are already defined into this particular database are blocked for all. So that's the reason we are not able to see the numbers or the service item while choosing it on the service codes. And this is not just for the codes, this is available in all service areas. Okay, so that's one of the enhancement that we talked about, where the service number cannot be chosen, but let's choose it. If you manually try to tag it in, it'll show you that it is blocked. But now let's see that the service item is not blocked, but the service item which is associated with the item seems to be blocked. Okay, so let's see the item card. So this service item that we were choosing is associated with item number S100 and it is seems blocked. But let's go and let's see on the item card. So if I see here on item card, I don't see anything. So what's happening? So along the lines on the item card, if you go into your, I'm a little bit in costing and okay, not here. We are on item card. Let's come down. Okay, let's do show more. So like in item card, you can block a particular item for certain kind of transaction. In the same way, you can block now for service transactions. So I'm looking for that boolean. Yes, here it is. So on the prices and sales tab, and let me collapse all these. In the past, you were able to define that it is sales blocked, but now you are also able to define that is it service blocked or not. And if it's service blocked, then you'll not be able to use that item on service transaction. Okay, so let's unblock this. Now, before we move out of this particular enhancement that we are talking about, let's quickly understand one more thing. There's a small impact from an upgrade perspective. So during your upgrade happens from Business Central 2023 Release Wave 2 to 2024 Release Wave 1 in SaaS, or if you upgrade from a prior version on-prem to Business Central 2024 Release Wave 1, any item which is sales blocked will also be marked as service blocked because this field was never available, and Microsoft upgrade code unit or upgrade logic will copy the value of sales blocked to service blocked. So if an item is sales blocked, then it is also service blocked. So just remember that if your customers or if you are using service. So now let's choose the item. So I've defined the item here. And now let's move into it. Okay. So let's get into the service items and see what else we can do. Okay. On All of these service items, when you are adding them, you can now, and we have talked about it, also attach documents into it. But not just that, let's try to create a new item, and let's call it as test. Notice that the document is 0. When you choose an item, it'll automatically change to document 1 because in this item there was a document attached already. So let's have a look on that. So when you go into the show detail, you'll notice that there was already an attachment done. And to kind of bring the same functionality into the service area, what Microsoft have done is also added a boolean called flow to service transaction. If this is enabled on an attachment that you have made on your item card, this attachment will move from item to service item when it gets created. And that's the reason why it's kind of brought from there to here. Okay, so let's come here, back here. The same rule applies here. If there was an attachment on the customer number, that would have also been here added. Now let's try to convert this to an order. But before we do that, you can now also take a snapshot of this code and attach it as a PDF. So once you do and attach as PDF, this automatically will get added in the document attachment, if I'm not wrong. So let me go back and let's go to service codes. Okay, still says 1. Okay, this should have been attached. This is not attached. Okay, yeah, this is attached. Sorry, my bad. So once I go here, I can see the snapshot of that service code because I clicked it twice. It took a snapshot twice, which is generally taking the output of that report that is attached to the service code and then saving that snapshot here. So I've taken a snapshot and attached it into the document. Now I'm doing a make order. So as soon as I convert a code to an order, this will convert into a service order. So now let's go back, look at the service code, and here is the service code which brought that attachment to here also. So the snapshot of that document is also available here. Okay, so you can see it here, and then the same you can do if needed. From here there is also an option to attach in PDF, which now will take the report that is associated with the service order and will attach that document here. Okay, moving forward, I missed one detail about this. So like you can block on items that they are associated with the service orders or not. You can also go into variants if there is any, and I don't know which one have variants available. So I'll just open this, remove the filter for the time being, and I notice that there is a variant available for one of the item. So if you notice here, now there is a new boolean added that not just at the item card, you can even block the service transaction for a variant that is associated with an item. So you can either do it on an item card, either do it on item variants, or do it on the service item. You have all the options that are available for blocking an item, because you consider the scenario where you don't want to service an item, so you can block or a specific variant. Now once you have done that, you have converted this, and now here you will also notice that there are some new fields available. So when you go into the service line, there is where you add items associated with it, or service items. So here you can, and let me see where that is. Okay, you can select items as you can do in the sales area and all, and like anything you can choose the items, one or multiple. Now the only items that you're seeing here which are service not blocked, if any item is service blocked, will not be visible on this list. As you click OK, all those items will get added here, And let me see, it is not happening. Okay, and this might be a bug. Will get fixed hopefully soon. So as I add that, those get added. So I think at this point that might be in fix that Microsoft have to do on this. Additionally, you will be able to utilize the item reference number field. So you can just type in or scan that barcode and it'll automatically add that item into this. Okay. Now let's try posting it. So if I try posting this, what options I see is only ship and consume. That means it is only allowing me to ship this. There's no option to invoice it. And from where it is being controlled is on the user setup. As in the past, Microsoft did add an option to sales invoice policy posting. Same for the purchase invoice policy posting. In this one, Microsoft added a new one for service invoice posting policies, which have three options: allowed, prohibited, and mandatory. Now, these three options have their own meanings of what kind of changes you can do. So, if you choose option one, which is allowed, then you'll be able to ship invoice and ship an invoice. If you do prohibited, then it'll only ask you for the shipment option. If you do mandatory, then it'll ask you a confirmation to post shipment and invoice. So let's try with the allowed and let's see what happens. So I've changed that to allowed, and now I see ship and invoice, and ship and consume. What if I change it to the last option, which is mandatory? So if I choose it mandatory, what happens is I only see an confirmation to post the shipment and invoices. So now as an administrator, you can define per user wise what kind of posting options they'll see. Okay, so that's one change that we were talking about. Now let's try to do a contract and see what changes are there. So if I'm here and if I'm trying to create a service contract, I'll just go ahead and create a contract and I'll choose a template, let's say monthly. That is a contract, so you kind of get payment on a monthly basis in this case. And I've created this and I have chosen some items. Like this, you can do the select service item if there are multiple and click OK. Let's add some parameters here. Okay. What I'm missing, line value. Okay, it should be line value. Okay, let's do. Okay. Now in the past, once you have created the contract, you are supposed to sign the contract. So once you sign the contract, kind of from a sales perspective, it's kind of released. And then here is your number of unposted sales invoice and all. Now I can create a service invoice for this. So as I create a service invoice, will happen, an invoice will be created. So if I open this, I'll be able to see the invoice that has been created for 5/1/2024 to 5/31/2024. Now let's go ahead and change the date into the system, the work date, so that I can explain you the change. So let me make it as 6/1. Okay. And I can just again create the service invoice. Okay. So the invoice is created. The other one that was created, which is this one, is for the period 6/1 to 6/30. Now, let's suppose if you made a mistake, you forgot to set some settings and all, and you want to delete a invoice that you have created. So let's try to open this and let's try to delete this. Okay. It asks you for a confirmation that deleting the service invoice will restore the previous invoice date in the contract. Do you want to delete it? So that means that there are some dates in your service contract. So if you look at it, Okay, these dates will be reset once you delete them. So if I come here, choose this and try to delete this, say yes, yes, it gives me an error. It says that the page uh, have changes and the service invoice cannot be deleted because there are service invoice which are part of later posting date. So it's saying that it cannot delete it, and the only reason that it cannot delete it because there are future date invoices which are already existing. So you now will be able to delete the invoices that you have created for the contract, but in the same or in the reverse order of how you have created them. So first I'll have to delete this so that it reflects the changes in my service contract. So that got deleted. Now if you notice that the date has changed to 6/1. If I go ahead and now I try to delete this, you'll notice that I'll be able to delete this and my dates will reset back to the actual date that it was supposed to be. So which was not possible in the past and now it's possible. So this, it concludes all the things. We did talk about service invoice posting policies, a little bit of improvement. I did show you about the document attachment, how you can block items or variants for service transaction, correct errors in the service invoices, which is, you can see the errors and you can get into it as you saw in the item blockage scenario, and then you can edit the number series of the service document. Now, one thing to remember on all this is around the change during the upgrade. So when you upgrade and if your customer is using service feature of Business Central, any item which is sales blocked will also be service blocked. So don't be surprised if after the upgrade, or remember this during the upgrade, to inform your customers that guys, this change is coming and be prepared for it. Or if there's an issue, you know now where to track. So you know the drill. If you think this was useful, hit the like button. If you think other people in the community should know about it, then hit the share button and share this video on your social media. And if you haven't, which I don't think, but then subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'll see you sooner than later on the next video, hopefully in this series. Till then, keep learning and keep sharing your knowledge with others. We want to make this community as great as we can, and that will not be possible without your help and support of sharing content that you are learning. Thank you and have a nice day.